What's up everyone, I'm Jessekazam. Welcome back to another Escape From Tarkov video. In this video, we're going to be diving into what is a wipe in Escape From Tarkov and what you should kind of know going into one. I stream Escape From Tarkov a few days a week. All my links will be down below. Would love to have you stop by and say hey and catch some raids. But with all that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. So, it's around that time where you're starting to hear a lot of people probably talking about the wipe. It's on the Reddit, there's been podcasts, and basically what a wipe is that's when Battlestate Games completely resets everybody's account back to zero. So your level goes back down to zero, your stash gets wiped all the way down to just the little things that you start with, like when you bought your account fresh, any containers you worked for. So if you had an alpha and you got the beta or the kappa or the epsilon, those get erased. You get wiped down to your alpha container or whichever one came with the addition of the game. Your hideout gets reset all the way back to zero. Your soft skills get reset all the way back to zero. Everything goes all the way back down to zero. Now, for the first time, we are going to have a few things carry over, and that's just going to be like what you've examined. In the past, we've had to re-examine every single item after a wipe, but I'm super glad they're not making us do that. And we're going to keep the weapon presets that we've made, which is really nice because this has been the first wipe that we've had those. And a lot of people were wondering if we, spend a lot of time making these cool presets, are they going to wipe? Well, they're going to keep those. Everything else, though, is going to be completely erased back down to zero. Now, that can be a really daunting thing. I know for sure when I picked up the game and when I was playing, going into my first wipe, I was super frustrated. I was super worried about what that was going to mean because it feels like I've been grinding money and level and experience in this game, and then it all gets reset, and it can actually be a really good thing. So the actual reason that they do this is we have to remember that the game is in beta, and this is for testing new aspects of the game, especially aspects of the game that change the economy or how progression works. So for instance, you know what I mean, when they added the hideout, being able to craft things in the hideout, being able to work that up, and they need to test how is that going to affect how you make money, how is that going to affect how you spend money, how is what you craft going to affect things, and then how does that affect how you get from 0 to 40 and level up all your traders and stuff like that. And they can't really do that when most of the communities got tens of millions of rubles or is already level 40 or even just level 20 or 30. You've already through so much of it. So they need to test that. New maps are the same way. If they add a new maps, they might add new quests. And if you are already level, 60 and have everything you need, then why would you need to do these new quests? And so they have to test how the progression system works. And so these wipes often come with big updates that are going to kind of fundamentally change the game, which a lot of people can get frustrated at, but we have to remember, like I said, the game's in beta. They're still putting the building blocks together. A lot of the stuff that we have in the game, even though for me at least it might feel pretty finished, are placeholder. And so when they put these things in, they have to wipe everybody. Another thing is that it kind of levels the playing field out a little bit, which I think can be a good thing, especially for newer players. So I feel like a majority of the player base right now picked the game up, in 2020, since the drops event and, a lot of the stuff that's been happening, whereas the game's been out, since 2017. And so we have a lot of new people that this might be their very first wipe, but more importantly, a lot of people that came in maybe midway through. If you picked up the game 3 months ago, or even 3 days ago or 3 weeks ago, you're going to be on your quests and doing all sorts of stuff, whereas so much of the community just has maybe like hundreds of millions of rubles and everything they need, and a lot of the guns that you have access to as a new player just aren't going to do anything to the armor. You know what I mean? Especially while you're learning the game, that can be super frustrating. So this is an opportunity to basically level the playing field. You're going to be, for at least a few weeks, everybody's going to have low tier guns, everybody's going to have low tier armor, and almost every firefight that you get into, there's a chance you can win that engagement. And the Find and Raid Flea Market, which we'll talk about a little bit later, will maybe even extend that period of time, making it easier to kind of win some fights, and then hopefully, just extend that period of time before people just all of a sudden have meta stuff. So that's what a wipe is. We are getting a wipe soon. So today is April 27th, I believe, and that's when 12.5 came out, which was just an optimization patch. And Nikita popped into Pestily stream earlier today and mentioned that, hey, It's most likely going to be less than a month from now. You know what I mean? The patch is done. We're just testing it. We want to get it out as soon as possible because we're already working on 12.7. So 12.6 with the patch is coming soon in the next few weeks. They'll update us as we get closer, but it's coming soon, which is super exciting. A few days before the wipe happens, another thing that they do is they call them pre-wipe events. And so they know that once the wipe kind of gets announced, there's not a whole lot of reason for people to play. And so they kind of try to do things to spice things up and give players access they might not have had before. So for instance, some of the stuff they've done in the past is they've replaced every scav on the entire map, on all the maps, with scav raiders from labs. So people who haven't done labs much can interact with them. It just kind of changes things up because they're much harder than normal scavs. And it's a way for newer players to get a whole lot of gear because the scav raiders are much more geared. Another thing they've done is they do everything 99% off from the traders. And no matter what level you are, they give you level 4 traders and unlock all the traders for you, which is cool. My first wipe, going into my first wipe, I actually really enjoyed that because I had never gotten access to a meta M4 or, you know, level 6 armor or anything like that because I was so new to the game. So it's cool to be able to buy that stuff basically no matter how much money you have and run it a little bit. The gameplay loop is just kind of broken at that point. Everybody's running the best stuff and, you know, it's a completely different game basically. But it's cool that they do those things to try to spice things up. So they'll announce those in the coming weeks. And then the wipe, once that happens, the wipe will be soon after that. Another interesting thing, well, another tidbit that it lets you do when the wipe comes is that if you wanted to change your faction from Bear to USEC or USEC to Bear, you don't have to wipe your account. The wipe is coming. And once you log back in, it's going to let you pick that and change your name and all that stuff as well. So that's what a wipe is. 12.6 is coming, and that's the reason we're wiping. Just really quick, some of the big things that are coming with 12.6 is an expansion and a rework to customs. So they've gone through and retouched the map. They've changed certain areas like dorms. They haven't really shown us a lot of what that looks like, but that's really exciting. Hopefully they optimize the map a little bit, and then they're expanding it. So if you know customs, the space between old gas station and construction is going to be opened up as well, which is super exciting. It's going to widen the map. It's going to reduce choke points or bottlenecks. They've talked about maybe an underground system, a new place for that Rochelle is hanging out. So a lot of really cool stuff is coming there, which is super exciting. We're also getting the first iteration of Steam Audio. If you don't know what Steam Audio is, I did a video about that. But Steam Audio is going to be a huge addition to the game because it's going to help localizing sounds be much more accurate and much easier. That's the number one thing I'm excited for this wipe. We're also moving to a find and raid flea market, which we talked about a little bit earlier, where the only things you're going to be able to post on the flea market that you want to sell are things found in raid. If you get a run through, it doesn't count as found in raid. And if you take anything off of PMC, it doesn't count as found in raid. It's just things that you like go in that were spawned in that raid while you're in there. You take them out. So that is going to have, whether you love or hate that change, it's definitely going to have a huge impact on how people progress. We're not really going to know to what extent until we get in there and we get hundreds of thousands of people playing. And then they're also initiating a little bit of the dynamic loot system, which is going to help be able to pull some of the rare loot from, instead of it's just the only 2 places this spawn are here and here, and you just rush those places if you want those things 100 times until you get it. But maybe making an option, a really rare option for rare loot to spawn elsewhere throughout the world, which encourages exploration and hopefully discourages just like people just spam running to one spot over and over again, just completing that gameplay loop and not really like experiencing Tarkov. So that's it. That's what a wipe is. That's why we have one coming here with 12.6. I'm personally very excited about it. The few weeks after wipe, the few months after wipe are like where Tarkov really shines for me because it's so dynamic and you're not really running into the same type of enemy over and over again. So I'm super excited. I hope that this answered your questions and kind of prepared you a little bit for what's to come. If I missed anything or if you have any questions, please drop a comment down below. If you like the video, drop it a like or think about subscribing for more content like this. I'm always trying to create content that shortens the learning curve of Tarkov and gets you in your raids having fun as soon as possible. If you didn't know yet, I do have a weekly podcast with Veritas, another amazing Escape from Tarkov content creator. That's the podcast. There's going to be links for that down below as well. Thank you so much again for stopping by, and I'll see y'all on the next one.